Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Delivering Personalized Success Experiences with Postclick's Digital First Approach. My name is Banu Shandilia, and I'm part of the CS team here at Totango. I'm excited to introduce Marius Laza, VP of Customer Success at Postclick. Marius, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Banu. Hello, everyone. I'm Marius Laza. I'm the VP of Customer Success here at Postclick, and today I'm going to talk about delivering personalized success experiences at scale. I joined Postclick about 6 years ago, so I've had plenty of time to kind of experiment with processes and methods, and I'm going to share one of that today. So let's take a look at the agenda. I'm going to give you a quick introduction to Postclick. I'm going to talk about our customer success team, and then we're going to jump into the customer success method, which is kind of an internal document that we've created for the team. And with that, and with our personalized customer health approach and the segments and touch points that we're going to cover, I will be able to tie all of that up into an actual example of a personalized success experience, which I hope is tangible and helpful to all of you. So let's see what we have and move on. So for Postclick, basically we do add to page personalization at scale. We believe that the personalization era has arrived, and we are creating this new category of Postclick automation where we fall between the advertising platform and the acquisition platform. And many of you already know that in the past 10 years, companies have wasted 96% of their direct response advertising investments, and that's $870 billion loss. It's basically the thing that you've all heard about. Out of every 100 visitors that go to your website, only 4 of them convert, right? That's an average of a 4% conversion rate, which means that 96% of people that search for something on Google and go to one of your destinations are probably not going to find what they were looking for. And that's what we realized, and that's what some of our top clients realized as well. And here's what we do differently. So our top clients understand that the personalized experience must continue beyond the ad. Everyone knows that you can have really complex and solid campaigns. You have diverse audiences in Google Ads, for example. And in some cases, all of those go to one destination, which is basically the worst case scenario possible. In other cases, it might be a few landing pages, which is better, of course. But we believe that you need a unique page experience for every audience that you have. We want to have those unique destinations in place. And here's an example, right? Applying personalization profiling for unique experiences. Kind of standard Google search, someone is searching for a mobile POS system, and we have some information about them. We know their interest, their intent, the audience, the demographics, and that's one of the many personalized experiences that we can highlight, right? In this case, we're showing that POS system, and we're also saying that it's free, right? Because that's what's relevant for maybe a small business owner. If we know that the system is free, let's highlight the value where it matters most. And that's how a personalized experience would look like. And of course, in actuality, we have hundreds or thousands of those page experiences highlighting a specific part of a product or a service and trying to show it at the right time to the right person. So that's what we do, and that's going to be relevant to our example today because I'm going to walk you through a company and their use case and show you how we deliver success to that type of company. So a quick intro into our success team. We have our customer support team working with thousands of clients, some reactive, some proactive approaches as well. And today we're going to highlight the customer success team working with dozens of high-touch clients each. And of course, on the other end, hundreds of tech-assisted touch clients as well. And our methods are mostly proactive and predictive. And we are about to actually launch tech-assisted touch to thousands of clients this summer. And that's going to be the most important part of the presentation today, how we will be able to deliver real customer success to thousands of clients as opposed to dozens or hundreds. So the first piece of the puzzle is the customer success method, an internal document that we have for our team. And I'm going to give you an example, and we're going to follow SaaS Corp throughout this presentation. They have some objectives when using Postclick. They want to create thousands of page experiences, thousands of unique page experiences. They will invite team members, multiple team members to our platform, and they want to increase their conversion rate by 80%. And if you look at this, you're going to realize that these objectives can be split into two. It can be indirect objectives on one end and primary objectives on the other, because we can help them create thousands of page experiences and help them invite multiple team members almost immediately. We're looking at something tangible that the customer success manager can do today or tomorrow. And then if we do that correctly and at the right time, hopefully we're going to reach our primary objective, which is increasing the conversion rate by 80%. So that's why we need to have this separation so we know where to focus our daily efforts. So we're going to talk about adoption a bit. For us, this is our Totango definition of adoption. It starts after 30 days since sign up, and it also happens right after the account setup. So you need to have the account setup complete, and no longer than 30 days after that, we can jump into adoption of the product. For an example, we have the objectives. Adoption begins after the account setup. Objectives that were set during the sales cycle need to be met and reviewed with the client. And in this case, SaaS Corp purchased our software and they want to create hundreds of page experiences with their team. For a strategy that you can use, we need to make sure that the client has taken tangible steps to meet those objectives. So in this case, they have created their first few page experiences and invited their first few team members to their account. And as a step-by-step approach, we can define those personalized adoption objectives, reach out to the client, check in on progress, eliminate their blockers, so we can ensure that the client published, for example, 5 pages and invited their first 2 team members to the account. And in order to support all of that, we actually have a bunch of internal playbooks that our customer success team can use at any given time. Another piece of the puzzle, and we will soon tie it all together to see how it works, is the personalized customer health. So for us, and before I go into how we define customer health, I do have to show you how Totango does it, because they have a pretty interesting system with first a traditional approach of customer health. Green is good, red is bad, yellow is average. But they also have an interesting view of it, right? Looking at this, Totango actually shows you the historical health week after week. So what you see here, if you haven't used Totango before, is 10 weeks of customer health. And in this case, a customer starting in good health and unfortunately ending in 2 weeks of poor health, right? So this is the historical view of customer health. They went from good to bad to good again and then bad at the end. And what we're trying to do with our customer health definition is make sure that our clients are mostly healthy and ideally are fully healthy if we do our jobs right. So a more traditional example of customer lifecycle with onboarding, adoption, and renewal, to highlight that SaaS Corp can sign up on day 1 and be fully healthy, right? They just joined our platform, everything is going fine. But after 30 days, as we go into that adoption stage, our needs for the client change, right? So the system will automatically set them to poor health because what we're looking for in adoption is different than what we were looking for in onboarding. And with the right actions, we're going to turn them back into good health, of course. And that's what we're looking for. So for a deeper definition of health, we look at health in 2 different ways, I guess twofold. On one end, we want to see some client actions, in this case, creating pages, publishing pages, that needs to happen. And on the other hand, we look at customer success interactions, right? So we want the CSM to have to be a part of the health definition. For us, that translates into an adoption touch point or an adoption note that the CSM needs to leave on the account. So here's how Totango interprets this. We have the adoption stage over here, we have the health definition, and the system will check to see if the client created a page, if they published a page, and if the CSM added an adoption touchpoint. And only when all of these come together, that's when the account will be truly healthy. So going back to those objectives, first, creating thousands of page experiences, inviting multiple team members. You can see a screenshot from Totango where we can see that the account is in good health. And you can even see the definition over there, right? They created enough pages, that's 36 pages over there. They have 5 active team members, so everything is good, right? Health should be good as well. But if you look at that primary objective of increasing conversion rate by 80%, you will realize that there's a time on that timeline that you need to define where just having pages and team members is not enough. And that's why here we add that conversion rate component to the health definition. And then in this timeline over here, you can see 3 weeks over there where the account is actually in poor health because despite inviting team members and publishing pages, they haven't reached the goal that they've set for their conversion rate. So that's how it works when you look at health and time combined and when you have this type of dynamic definition. So a few key takeaways for the health definition. First, I do think that you need to find what's universally true for your product or service. It can be logins, it can be some activities, and we really like to tie that up with some CSM involvement, like the CSM having a meeting or adding a touch point or adding a note to the account, and that becomes a health definition. You can define health at multiple stages. I would recommend at least twice. What's healthy in onboarding is different than what's healthy in adoption. And you can even define it based on client type, which we do, but only if it's relevant. And last note, don't be afraid to revisit as your book of business grows or changes. We're actually in the process of doing that right now. We like to do that at least once every 1 or 2 years. And for us, for example, we actually had stage health defined at 6 stages and at one point, so 6 times in a 12-month cycle, and that might be a bit too much, right? So you need to take a look at your book of business and see what makes sense for you. So last piece of the puzzle, and we're soon going to tie everything together, segments and touch points. Here's another traditional example of the difference between high touch, medium touch, tech touch, and again, looking at the adoption stage. So for high touch, you could have something like an automated notification going out to the CSM when the stage begins. The CSM might reach out to the client to review progress. And the CSM might reach out to the client again to showcase maybe additional functionality or some new features. For true adoption, we define true adoption as going from 1 to 100 after you went from 0 to 1. So those are very much high touch activities that the CSM can do. On the medium touch side, you can have something like an automated notification for the CSM again, and maybe just one manual outreach to review progress, reaching out to the client. And then traditionally, tech touch is just a quick notification for the CSM, but we pretty quickly realized that we can do much more on the tech touch side, right? You can automate an outreach, and if the client replies, you can do a manual follow-up. You can also create automated alerts in case the client doesn't adopt the product in time, or you can even do them for success and celebrating wins, right? So tech touch can be as powerful as high touch if you find those universal truths and if you set it up correctly. So here's an example of adoption and the difference between high touch and low touch. I pulled this out of our systems. So here's how that interaction would look on high touch, and then I'm going to show it how it looks when it's mostly automated. So we have our Totango admin automatically creating a task, notifying the CSM that the account is entering the adoption stage. So the CSM should review the account, create a plan of action, and that's an automated task that they will get. And we have Catalina over here, the CSM jumping in, reaching out to the client so they can check in on progress. Catalina, again, will go back to Totango, add a note about that meeting and next steps. And again, Catalina will create a task for himself. Maybe 2 weeks from now, he needs to check in with the client again, right? So quite a bit of manual work on this model. And this is how this type of interaction would look like on Tech Touch. We have, again, the Totango admin automatically creating not tasks this time, but touch points. Totango already knows how many pages were published, how many team members the account has. So we can skip a few steps and just add that snapshot of the account as a note in Totango automatically, right? The client has published 6 pages and invited 2 team members, no human interaction yet. We can also look at targeted criteria. So basically splitting clients between those who have invited their team members versus those who haven't, and sending different campaigns out, or I guess automated outreach in this case, to initiate the conversation. What's going on? Can we help? And that can be sent on behalf of the CSM. And of course, the replies will land in the CSM's inbox. And again, with the future task, we want to sync with the client again in 2 weeks. That can be fully automated. So in this tech touch model, there are actually 0 manual actions. In the high touch model, there are 3. But of course, at the right time, Catalin should give the personal touch. He should jump on a call, and he should maybe even celebrate a win with the client. So we do recommend at least 1 manual action in the entire cycle, but still the level of effort is completely different. And we find opportunities to showcase the right things to the CSM at the right time, so they don't have to dig to their entire book of business every day and try to identify what's going on. Okay, so a couple of key takeaways from this last section. You still need to have that clear definition of objectives, indirect and primary. I do recommend having playbooks for each stage. That helps a lot if the CSM can pull up a playbook depending on what's going on, at what point during the customer lifecycle, that would be helpful. And you can use automation to trigger alerts for the CSM, trigger touch points or notes for the account, and even trigger tasks. So here's how we tie that all together with a personalized customer success experience. Now we know the objectives, increasing the conversion rate by 80%. We know the health definition. For us, it's fairly complex and fairly dynamic. And we also have a bank of potential touch points, both manual and automated, that we can pull from. So we're looking at another Totango account timeline. Again, it starts on the left, ends on the right. These are quite a few weeks of customer health. And as you can see, the customer starts in good health, in green over there in the first bubble. As you go in that week 2, the system itself can look at how many team members were invited. And if there are 0, you can alert the CSM automatically, right? So we're in the loop, and now we know that the client hasn't added anyone to their account yet. A week later, or at the same time, we can send a video tutorial on how to invite team members straight out of Totango automatically. And if the client does that, we can see that team members have increased to 1 or 2, and we can restore health to good. So I think that the most interesting part about this entire first 4 weeks over here is that it's fully automated. If you paid attention, you'll see that the CSM doesn't actually have to do anything in this example. Health will go to poor, average, and good on its own. We're gonna send the tutorial to the client automatically. So if we set up those automations correctly, the account will actually go through this entire experience without any human involvement. And as we go through that life cycle, you're going to see that there are other opportunities for automated notifications on the current conversion rate. It can go out either to the client or to the CSM, depending on what you need to have. And further on, we might see that the conversion rate is not increasing at the expected rate, right? If you see that you're about to miss those objectives, you can notify the CSM, and you can also automatically set the account to poor health, so you can truly highlight that this account is not doing well. And hopefully after a couple of weeks, if the CSM had some manual involvement and actually talked to the client, figured out what's going on, the conversion rate will be achieved. The account will be back into good health again automatically. Almost this entire flow is fully automated. And there are other opportunities to turn health into average health. For example, we send out NPS surveys, and if the client rates us below a 9, we can turn them into average health, just so the CSM notices that something is going on. And further down the line, we can even do the same if they have a technical support escalation. So everything is connected. As an escalation happens, health should drop at least to average, if not poor. And if that is resolved, of course, it should go back into good health. And hopefully we're going to get an expansion and a renewal at the end of the cycle if we've set all of this up correctly. So last key takeaways from my presentation on objectives, we do like to have them in indirect or primary. We want to create playbooks and processes that support meeting those objectives. And ideally, those processes are proven to work, right? We want to do that. On health, it can range from simple definitions to very advanced dynamic definitions that change over time. you should have a clear definition that the CSM team can act on. There's no point in having an account in poor health if you don't have a way to turn them back into good health. And it should also reflect the reality of your client's situation. If you look at health, you see good health accounts, you should know that renewal and upsell is coming. If you see poor health accounts, you should know that the cancellation might be coming. And on the automation piece, anything can be automated. There is more to that you can automate than you think. I found this out a few times in the past few years. And it's definitely not a trade-off. I think that you can find a sweet spot between automation and manual touch. I think automation should support manual touch and should make every CSM's life easier by highlighting the right accounts at the right time, so the CSM can actually get involved where they can have the most impact. And I think that's the end of my presentation. I'm gonna send it back to you, Banu.
That's up for our time today. Thank you, Marius, so much for joining us. We hope everyone enjoyed and found it to be informative. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you all.